or without color?
So then it's
This question is actually a real thing.
yeah.
So late onset blindness, you can still see in your dreams. That's crazy. And they actually looked at brain activity research to be able to kind of get clues about this. Dream content, people being able to wake up and tell you about the dreams. So
Wow.
this is a real thing.
That's
This
I mean
this
that's crazy because
so
from my standpoint.
I retract the statement that I hate you so much.
Say I just hate you. It ain't so much.
I retract the statement, and I can't even get it out. I'm trying to say, and here's 1 point for Greenfield,
Come on, give it to
but
me.
it wouldn't come out.
Come
It
on,
wouldn't.
give it to me. Give me my point.
I couldn't get it to come out.
I'm far behind. I got a lot of points to pick up.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I see the question marks in the chat. Let me say good morning to the folks on Facebook and YouTube. Somebody said, "Is this live?" Yes, it is.
Live at the rate.
Yes, it is. Somebody else said, "I'm lost."
See, Greenville education.
Hey. Let's not go too far. Let's not go too far. All right. So let me just say to folks, they said, "Oh, y'all lost signal on Facebook and YouTube."
Yeah, we had to restart it.
They had to restart it. Okay,
because it wasn't streaming on Facebook.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So last night had an opportunity to go check out Angela Davis over at UWM, and it was sold out. But somehow or another, Sister Jeanette Herrera managed to be sitting on the front row. But I ain't got nothing to say. I don't have nothing to say about that. But it was crazy to see Miss Davis, who is now, I think, 82 years old. Yesterday, while I was driving over to UWM, I was listening to Tavis Smiley, and he was somebody said no, not the front row. Yes, she was on the front row. So when I was driving over to UWM, I was listening to Tavis Smiley, and he was interviewing a number of people in connection to the recent announcement of the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And he had former UN ambassador or U.S. ambassador, mayor of Atlanta, Congressman Andrew Young on his show. And he started off by saying that Andrew Young had a birthday coming up in March, and he would be 94 years old.
Wow.
And I just leaned back in the Jeep like 94. And Mr. Young came on. He talked about Jesse, and Tavis asked him. He said, "Hey, what's your first memories of Jesse?" And he said, that he was good looking. He talked about Jesse Jackson being tall, and he said, I forgot the words he used, but basically he said Jesse Jackson was a nice looking brother. And he said, but we didn't know him. He just showed up on the scene. He said, and I ended up talking to Martin because they had done some event and somebody was, keeping lookout. And he said, Jesse Jackson came up to him and said, "Hey, bro, you've been standing lookout for like 2 hours, 3 hours." He said, "Why don't you get you a nap, get you some rest?" Because they was trying to keep the marchers safe. He said, "Why don't you get you a nap, get you some rest, and I'll do that." Andrew said, he looked at him, he said, "I'm gonna take you up on that." And later it was, according to Andrew Young's telling of it yesterday, he was one of the people that went back to Martin and was like, we need to reach out to this brother. We need to bring this young brother into the fold, see what's up. So he talked about Jesse's style, the fact that he was charismatic, and people were just naturally drawn to Jesse. But it was a really good interview. But I couldn't really get past a lot of the details of the interview because I kept being stuck on Andrew Young is about to be 94. And then going last night to Angela Davis, 82. And you just realize like so many of these people that were the icons in terms of civic engagement, civil rights, being out in front, that these people are aging. And I think now when somebody says so-and-so coming to town, who do people flock to see? Who do people want to hear from? So it was really, really cool. Angela Davis shouted out Brian Verdine. Gideon Verdine, who is the local reporter here. Brian is his pops. I went to college with Brian, me and Lena. Brian always been down for the cause. And it was really, really cool because one of the questions that got posed to Angela Davis was, how are you taking care of yourself? You know, what does self-care look like for you? And she talked about, you know, I listen to music. And she said, I'm rocking Brandy Younger right now. And, you know, the audience was quiet. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, but are y'all up on Brandy Younger? Y'all, anybody out here listening to Brandy Younger? Only, I think one person really raised their hand, and it was Brian Verdine. and she started cracking up because she and Brian go back, man, almost 50 years and have done work together 40 years, something like that, 30 years. And so she referenced that. But I also thought about the fact that there are a litany of people, and Jay, I want to do that clip. There are a litany of people that don't necessarily fully know, you know, Angela Davis, they just know the Afro. They know she was a beautiful sister. They know that she had been on the run and at one point incarcerated. But there was a great interview that was done maybe 3 years ago on CBS. I love CBS Sunday mornings. And because of the way, you know, Trump has influenced media, I don't even watch CBS Sunday mornings no more because the whole thing that's going on at CBS, and I'll actually talk about that. I didn't realize that Anderson Cooper had resigned from 60 Minutes, a show he's been doing for 20 years because of Barry Weiss being uber Trump friendly and folks feeling that the winds have shifted at a lot of these media outlets. But man, you couldn't stop me from getting up early on Sunday morning and get my cup of coffee and toast and sit back and kick back to watch CBS Sunday mornings because the quality of the show was always so amazing. It's such a good show. And you just realize now, because of the influence of this man, how a lot of these things have changed. And so now I don't even watch it no more. And me and my brother, that was one of our rituals. We would wake up, watch, you know, CBS Sunday morning, and some point during the day or by Monday, he and I would have connected to talk about what some of the features segments were on CBS Sunday morning. And like now, and it's so crazy. You know, they tell you if you do something so many times, then it becomes routine. I don't even think about it no more. Like, and this is something I've done for 30 years. I don't even, it doesn't cross my mind to get up, turn the TV on Sunday morning to watch it anymore. That's how sad this is. But, you know, I just want to thank Donald Trump and his loyal band of idiots who have ruined so much stuff. We got the clip. We ready to go? All right. So take a listen to this, you guys.
For more than half a century, her revolutionary ideas have sparked both hope and controversy. Lilia Luciano is in conversation with Angela Davis.
After more than 50 years, she's still instantly recognizable worldwide as the face of revolution.
How does the woman, Professor Angela Davis, relate to those posters?
I felt really uncomfortable. And that is because I think I was expecting to find myself in those images.
But at the age of 78, Angela Davis has come to terms with her image.
Now I look at them and I see all of the millions of people who came together to participate in a struggle.
Racism is indeed the key problem faced by the people of the country, and the threat of fascism is growing.
For half a century, Angela Davis has been sounding alarms.
There is a proliferation of police assaults on the Black community all over the country.
Alarms that are still going off today.
Those who still defend the supremacy of white male heteropatriarchy had better watch out.
Of course, I love being a revolutionary and I love being radical. It's important to be radical.
The roots of that radicalism can be traced to her upbringing in Birmingham, Alabama.
I grew up in a world that was entirely organized according to the dictates of white supremacy.
I understand you grew up in a street that was known as Dynamite Hill because of the amount of terrorist bombings when Black families moved into that community.
My very first memories are the sounds of dynamite. And then also the fear of watching my father bring his gun out when we thought that the Ku Klux Klan might be assaulting our home.
Miss Davis was a Phi Beta Kappa at Brandeis University in Boston. She did graduate work in Germany and San Diego.
What does Glenn mean when he talks about the socialization of production?
By the age of 26, Davis was an assistant professor of philosophy at UCLA. She had joined the Black Panther Party and the Communist Party, and that made her a target of California Governor Ronald Reagan.
When the Regents finally decided to fire me, I said that it was obvious that there was racism involved.
The very first press conference I held in the immediate aftermath of my firing at UCLA, I think my eyes were wide open and my knees were shaking under the table. And today people look at that and they say, oh, you were so much more militant then. I said, no, I was just afraid.
Gunfire came from automatic rifles, shotguns, and pistols.
A year later, a bloody courthouse siege brought her worldwide attention, though she wasn't even there. An attempt to free the so-called Soledad brothers, a group of inmates accused of killing a prison guard, ended in a shootout.
When it was over, Judge Haley was dead. 2 of the inmates were dead.
The guns used in the attack were traced to Davis. She said she had bought them for her security team after getting death threats. And she went into hiding.
The FBI has put Black militant Angela Davis on its list of the 10 most wanted fugitives.
Why did you run?
I didn't have a choice. All of my comrades and friends and I were aware of the ways in which people who were trying to turn themselves into the police had been killed.
The FBI caught up with her at a hotel in Manhattan. She was put at times in solitary confinement, while around the world, protesters called for her release. Then she was extradited to California.
Miss Davis entered the courtroom, turned and gave a Black Power salute to the gallery.
Davis was charged with conspiracy, kidnapping, and murder. She faced the death penalty.
Outside, there were 1,000 of Miss Davis supporters shouting, "Free Angela." They've pledged to be here as long as she's in court.
The moment was a long time coming. The jury had deliberated for 13 hours.
An all-white jury delivered its verdict on June 4th, 1972.
The tension was electric, waiting for the clerk to read the verdicts. The first charge was murder, not guilty.
She was acquitted on all counts.
Not guilty.
It was not until that moment that I realized that I had a future ahead of me.
I would simply like to thank all of you who struggled so long and so hard for my freedom.
Davis set off on a tour of the U.S. as well as the Eastern Bloc in Soviet Union.
Bring greetings from the Communist Party to the Soviet people.
She would leave the party 20 years later.
When I left the Communist Party, I made it very clear that although I may no longer be a communist with a capital C, I remain a communist with a small c. Historical experiments don't necessarily produce what we want them to.
The 16 months in jail before her acquittal had given Davis a new commitment.
I have come to think about my incarceration as a gift, witnessing the ways in which other women in prison were being treated. That really consolidated what I think has been my vocation.
She has since dedicated her life to the issue of prisons, not reforming them, but abolishing them.
There are words like defund or abolish. At the same time that they elevate a cause, they also create such division. Why not advocate for reform?
Well, I've really tried to learn from history. So if someone made the argument that abolition is too strong a term, I would remind people that during the era of slavery, there were those who made the very same argument.
The United States has 4% of the world's population, but 20% of the world's prisoners. 38% of the U.S. prison population is Black.
What does a world post-prison look like?
My question would be, what would a world have to look like in order not to require the persistent interventions of police and imprisonment? We need better education. We would need a better healthcare system. We would need a better world. So abolition urges us to expand and make more capacious our very vision.
Angela Davis is still writing, still teaching. After 50 years of fighting the same fights, it may seem the more things change, the more the causes remain the same. But Angela Davis is still energized and optimistic.
There are so many issues that you fought against that seem current, and you were fighting against them 50 years ago. How do you not lose hope?
No change is possible without hope. No movement is possible without hope.
We have to march on with the unshakable confidence that we will win our fight for a new society, our fight for a society where freedom, justice, equality, abundance, dignity, and happiness belongs to all.
All right, family. So thank you all for taking a moment to listen to the segment that was done by CBS this morning on Angela Davis. That piece was about 3 years old, but I think that it did a great job of giving some of the backstory about this incredible sister. There have been a number of books written about her, as well as her own works. And hearing her speak last night, you just begin to not understand, but you appreciate how history has unfolded, in some cases right before our eyes, the things that we take for granted. And then you wake up one morning and you realize that these people are no longer here. So it was important to get out to see her last night. And someone texted me after I made the comment about the fact that I don't watch CBS mornings anymore. And they said that that they also had stopped watching the show as well. I've heard from a number of people who have said that. I mentioned Anderson Cooper has now walked away from CBS 60 Minutes show, something that he had been engaged with and connected to for more than 20 years. And they talk about the fact that this new person that is over at 60 Minutes, Barry Weiss, is somebody that people call Donald Trump adjacent, or a Donald Trump enamored, or someone who is willing to entertain under her leadership a lot of the nonsense that goes with the way stories are told or slanted to highlight Trump, in a favorable situation, or not to be as hard hitting as they could or should be. And so he walks away. CBS praised him for his 2 decades of work. But at the end of the day, they are now paying attention because they only have about 6 mainstay anchors left over at 60 Minutes. The face of media as we know it is changing. There has been an all-out attack on what the Trump administration, conservative supporters believe is liberal-leaning media, progressive media. And, you will hear the way stories are delivered, the way information is provided, that more and more of it is being sanitized because people are afraid of this administration. And he is using the bully pulpit of the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, to be able to silence people, go after them. Some folks in the chat, they made a reference to Stephen Colbert and what has gone on over there recently. First of all, many of us know that Colbert is leaving the station, but because of a interview that he had with a candidate who is running for office in the state of Texas that was shelved without him even being told about it ahead of time, Colbert has come out and, basically clown CBS. Like, what are y'all doing over here, man? And as long as I've been with the station, the relationship that I have, it clearly counts for nothing. And so for folks that are paying attention to us, that there's a guy by the name of James Tallarico who was supposed to have a segment aired. He is running for U.S. Senate. Jasmine Crockett is in the same race. And they blocked him from being able to show the interview. And they denied that they prohibited, but what happened to it? What happened? They put out a statement saying the Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Tallarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be filled. Whatever. All you had to do was get those people scheduled. You didn't have to stop an interview because somebody else got to have equal time. It doesn't say you have to have equal time in that exact moment. So y'all playing games. We're going to be seeing more and more and more of that as people are worried that you have Trump's people micromanaging what is going on the air, what is being said, and who is being afforded an opportunity to speak. Because you're not going to go over to Fox News and hold no hard line about you got to give equal time to Democrats over here. You got to give equal time to so-and-so over here. You're not going to see it. So just to pay attention that all of these things are happening around us. Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right. So a couple of things that I want to do before we get into some more national news. I want to take a look at a couple of local things with the folks that were in the last 2 days from the Housing Authority. A lot of local stories got missed. I didn't talk about them, but there is one local story. Everybody knew I was going to talk about it. I mean, everybody knew I was going to talk about what's going on down at City Hall with Alderman Mark Chambers and Alderwoman Jocasta Zamaripa. You might as well have known it was coming. I was going to talk about the foolishness down at City Hall. And I'm looking for the exact story. I had it up, but I have lost it now. I don't know where to go. Let me try to find it. But I had, my phone started ringing like, are you watching, what's happening down at City Hall? And I had saw that 2 members of the Common Council had been shuffled around on committee assignments. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So there was, and I want to pull up the story. So I am quoting directly from what it said, but there was a story that has circulated that Alderman Mark Chambers and Alderwoman Jocasta Zamaripa, I always say her name wrong and I apologize, got into it. And they were in her office and that it was loud. A number of people said that Alderman Chambers was extremely loud. I don't know what kind of language got used, but I heard it was super duper heated. And at some point, Alderwoman Zamaripa, she says, hey, I don't feel safe. I don't want to be on no committees with this dude. I don't want him, around me. And so there is like some fallout. So Alderman Chambers is removed from the licensing committee by the Common Council President, Jose Perez, and he loses a vice chairmanship on the Judiciary Committee by Jose Perez. Alderwoman Zamaripa has committee assignments that are changed as well. And hang on one second. What's going on? Wait. I'm getting notifications. Give me 1 second, y'all. So she is reassigned on some committee stuff as well. All right. So somebody sent me Alderman Chambers' statement. Yeah, I had saw that he had put out a statement. Alderwoman Zamaripa put out a statement. They've been going back and forth. One of the things that Chambers said in his statement, I want to begin by acknowledging the seriousness of the claims that have been made and by affirming that every member of the Common Council deserves to feel safe, respected, and able to carry out their duties without fear or intimidation. I take those responsibilities and the trust placed in me as an elected official very seriously. That said, I must strongly and unequivocally dispute the characterization of the events described regarding February 11th. The public account provided by Alderwoman Zamaripa and sources does not accurately reflect what occurred. I was brought into Alderwoman Zamaripa's office by Common Council President Jose Perez to discuss an email I had previously sent to those members regarding pending legislation and their disagreement. Prior to entering Alderwoman Zamaripa's office, 4 council members were already present in the room. I was surprised to find multiple colleagues present. I did not initiate this gathering, nor did I enter the office uninvited or without any intent to intimidate. I was not the aggressor in this interaction. For the record, voices were raised by everyone in the room during this exchange. At no point did I physically block, threaten, or prevent anyone from leaving, nor did I misuse my authority in any way. While the discussion was candid and at moments intense, as can happen when elected officials engage passionately on issues affecting their constituents. Raised voices or strong disagreements should not be misrepresented or intimidation, abuse, or misconduct. I categorically reject the assertions. As an elected official, it is my goal to always represent my constituents and my district with integrity. I will willingly and fully participate in any investigation into the incident cited, as I firmly believe I conducted myself appropriately and professionally throughout the interaction. I am confident that a fair review, including witness accounts and full context, will reflect that reality. My focus remains on the work Milwaukee residents elected me to do. I remain committed to serving my constituents with honesty and accountability, and to engaging my colleagues respectfully, even when we disagree, in the best interest of the city. Yeah. I heard all that. The issue I have, though, because if you got all these people present, and if there were other people who saw it, and the decision was still made to remove you from committees so that the two of you don't come into contact, something is still missing. Something is still missing. Having worked in the state capitol, I have been around heated conversations. I have seen people get passionate about the way they do their job. But I remember Senator Taylor was sitting on Joint Finance, and John Nygren, a Republican in the Assembly, was the co-chair along with Alberta Darling. And there was a situation that came up, and Lena made a point, and the points offended John Nygren, because John Nygren, who loves to bash, Milwaukee, loves to question Black folks, integrity and our work ethic and blah, blah, blah. He has a daughter who was a drug dealer and who sold drugs, and her child got taken from her. He ended up getting his grandchild. And I think a woman may have died from some bad product that they cooked up in the crock pot in the kitchen. So, somehow or another, I forgot what the whole gist of the conversation was, but Lena said something and he didn't like it. And John Nygren handed off the gavel to his co-chair, Alberta Darling, and he came over to Lena while they are seated. If you think about the state, the meeting rooms at the Capitol, you got the legislators sitting up on that Diaz in that round circular pattern. He gets up and walks over to Lena, and Lena's seated, and I'm seated right behind Lena. And he starts pointing his finger and talking crazy to Lena because he mad because of what she said. And Lena is looking up at him like, yeah, you better move. And I finally had to tap his knee and hey, are we not about to do this? No, sir. Now, y'all can go to the back, but what we're not about to do is have you standing over her in front of everybody and executing this conversation in this way. And Lena was fully capable of taking care of Lena. But I'm looking at the optics of it all, and hell no, you're not getting ready to do this. If me and Lena both got to tear up this room, we'll tear it up in here. You're not getting ready to stand over her and look like you are, berating her, chastising her. It was just a real uncomfortable look. And I was like, y'all got to take that to the back. Y'all can't do this out here in front of everybody like this. Because you're always conscientious of the optics. So for the older person to say, and somebody else said, if 4 others plus him met in a room on city business, they could have violated the open records law. That's what somebody else just said. Well, that's an interesting point. Look at you. But this is the thing. Number one, there are some uncomfortable, unfortunate, unspoken things that people have to think about. And I used to say this to Black elected officials in Madison. People be expecting the show. They expect that we don't know how to engage, that we don't belong in the room, that we shouldn't have these jobs. What did Shirley Chisholm say in her movie when the man kept coming up to her, talking about she made $42,500, and he couldn't just believe that this black woman was doing the same job as him and getting paid the same money, because you have no place here. This was not intended for you. And then when you are a black person, a black man, tall, imposing figure, you already got stuff stacked against you. It is nothing for people to cry and say, I feel uncomfortable. And so brothers, sometimes to the point of being robotic, are always conscientious about the way they carry themselves in these situations. Because, and I got to see if I can find Alderwoman Zemparipa's statement, because she contradicts what Chambers says. And I need to see if I can find her statement so that in fairness, I can read both of them. But it's like, I just want to understand how nobody, because it would be interesting. And so I'm like trying to figure it out. So are you telling me Perez was in the room when the drama jumped off and the hollering ensued? And then I didn't know about the other four until I read this other account. So it's other legislators in the room when the hollering jumped off. And with that, if there were witnesses and Perez still makes the decision to not only remove you from a committee, but you lose one of your vice chairmanships on your way out the door, it's more to this than I'm understanding. Because how do you not have other people who sit here and say, no, he didn't berate her. No, he didn't physically intimidate her. And I'm looking for those other alderpersons and whoever was in that room. And Perez needs to say that too. You don't just get to say, I'm removing somebody from committees, because he removed both of them from stuff and shuffled them around. You need to help the public understand what the hell happened in the room. What happened in the room? Did he or did he not berate her? Did she berate him? Who cussed out who? But there were people that, again, reached out to me that talked about they could hear the mess all over and that it was loud and it was out of control. That's not how you engage. That's not how you engage. Passion don't mean I start yelling and screaming on either side. Passion does not mean that I forget I'm in a workplace and I'm not just free to just, free ball and show my behind. That's not what it means to be passionate. And I don't want it confused about what it means to be passionate. I don't want it confused. Because I love the little statement, but you can be passionate and not be heard all the way down the damn hallway. You can be passionate and nobody feel like that they got to file a complaint against you for your behavior. And I don't know. I don't know if the alderwoman really felt threatened, if this is just something, that's being said, just like I don't know when, Jose Perez said somebody pinched his booty. And then, you go file charges and folks come back and be like, nah, we didn't find none of that to be credible. But this is the one thing. And I remember when the first time I ever reached out to Alderman Chambers on an issue, because he snapped out on Walmart when they moved the Walmart out of his district. And I reached out and I said, hey, bruh, that's not how you do that. That's not how you do that. At least not right out the gate. That store is gone. It's leaving. It's nothing you're going to be able to do to bring it back. But that does not mean you have to lose the relationship. Reach out to those people and see if they will support a back to school event or something else in the district to be able to help in some kind of way, fill some voids. That was the very first real conversation I actually had with Chambers, because trying to coach people and help people understand it's a way to do stuff, y'all. It's a way to do stuff. And so he is now catching another lesson. Whether Alderwoman Zamaripa is right, wrong, indifferent, or otherwise, Mark Chambers is catching another damn lesson. You a big black man walking around in an environment that people really don't want to see you in. You have to think about how you engage in that environment. End of story. End of story. I shouldn't hear your voice all the way down the hall, especially when a woman is involved. And even though this is a colleague, at the end of the day, it's still a woman. In the U.S., in the state Supreme Court, when that judge put his hands on that woman's neck, he was supposed to get the brakes beat off him. Even though that's his colleague, it was still a woman, and this man put his hands around her neck and nothing happened to him. You don't lose the gender dynamic even though you're colleagues. And then you a big black colleague, you really don't lose it. Ain't nothing threatening about Chevy. Ain't nobody scared of Chevy. He talks like this. He makes everyone feel at ease. You know, he's got the vernacular and stuff down. He's easy going. Ain't nobody scared of David Crowley. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. I ain't saying they can't fight. I'm not saying they might not whoop somebody, but I'm just saying in terms of physical stature and appearance, ain't nobody scared of them. Chambers, all big, and then you put some gruff behind it, and you become an issue. These are the things that folks coach people on and talk to them about how you show up in a room. And it can be fair, unfair, it can be right, it can be wrong, it can be all those things. But it's reality. It is reality. I got to take a break. I know I got a caller. Call, I'm going to get to you. But it will be interesting to see as more comes out. I'm going to see if I can find the Alder statement. So again, in the spirit of fairness, I read what her pushback was, because they was doing tit for tat for a minute. She said, then he said, then she said, then he counted, then she counted. Like, and I know Alderwoman Zamaripa from working in the Capitol. She a pit bull. She ain't gonna let go. If she feel like, you know, that something happened that was out of pocket. I'm not saying she right. I'm not saying he was wrong. But what I am saying is, here is lesson number 1 in how to conduct your behind in these roles so that you don't have this situation sitting there. But this is the other thing real quick. Even sometimes when you do everything right, you can still get caught up. Somebody could still make an accusation that I don't feel safe. I just would love to remind the good alderman how he didn't give no damn when the brother had been in jail for 18 years and he was this some bullshit on a technicality and blah, blah, blah. But somewhere in the background, not a whole lot of real deference given to the fact that had the city not messed up, somebody, you know, wouldn't have spent 18 years in prison, wrongfully convicted. Now, in Chambers' mind, he's being wrongfully accused of intimidating folks and being a bully and clowning and cussing folks out. How you like it? Don't feel good, do it. Let me take a break. I'll be right back. All right, family. So I was able to get a hold of the statement that was initially put out by Alderwoman Zamaripa, and it reads as follows. On February 11th, an incident occurred at City Hall involving Alderman Mark Chambers Jr. and me. What should have been a conversation among colleagues quickly escalated into something far more serious. I was confronted in my office, verbally berated, and physically intimidated in a way that made me feel trapped and unable to safely exit. Multiple individuals witnessed what occurred. During the encounter, I was subjected to profane and degrading remarks, including being taunted to, quote, start crying. The comments were gendered and demeaning. This is not the first time I have experienced hostility from this individual. This was not just a personal disagreement or just raised voices. When an elected official uses the authority and physical presence of their office to intimidate or silence a colleague, it is a misuse of public power that undermines the democratic process. It also sends a troubling message to the residents I represent that their voices can be bullied or pushed aside inside City Hall. Holding public office is built on public trust. That trust depends on every elected official being able to do their job without threats, intimidation, or abuse. That is why I have filed a formal complaint and requested a full investigation under the city's ethics code, including whether this conduct constituted misuse of office and violated the standards required of city officials. Accountability matters not only for me, but for the integrity of city government and the communities whose representation must be respected. And again, there have been some additional press releases that have been put out. Let me take a second because there was a comment. Somebody said, what's the racial dynamic here? Alderman Chambers is Black. Alderwoman Zamaripa is Hispanic, Latino. I'm not sure if Mexican, Puerto Rico, but or Puerto Rican, but she is Hispanic, a Hispanic Latino woman. There was a in the chat where it says, why do we always have to back down? And Michelle, you always say they better be glad it wasn't me. Don't confuse the two. You can make your point without being loud and being a fool. And I'm not assigning that to Chambers. I'm saying that about anybody. I can check you and not have to worry about HR calling me. I can combat what you say. I can stand up to what you say. It's what the folks used to tell you all the time. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And when you are in the workplace and you got all these other dynamics at play, that is important. You for all my, you know, my what's the word I want? I can't think of the word I want right now. But for everything that I am, you have never heard nobody had to call HR because I went in there clowning, cuss somebody out, and was going to whoop somebody. You ain't never heard that. Because that's not how I do business at work. I am intellectually capable of challenging any argument that you put forward. And I don't have to cuss you out to get that done. I don't have to, you know, like I'm on radio. I raise my voice on radio. I'm animated because it's radio. The way I act on radio is not the way I act at work. I say the same things, but it's not as animated. It's not as over the top because I'm on radio. And so there's a degree and a freedom and a license that I'm offered here that in the workplace will get my butt handled very differently. That don't mean I'm not willing to deal with the consequences. But I just understand there's a way to engage. So this is not about backing down. Say what you need to say. Stand up for yourself. Counter arguments. Defend your constituents. Push back. But do it in a way that you ain't got somebody out here talking about some damn charges. And a criminal, a formal complaint being lodged against you. Sometimes it happens. Senator Taylor, when she was there, you know, people filed a complaint. I don't like the way she talked to me. So it happens. I'm telling you what I do. And I'm telling you, you got all the people sitting in the room. I'm going to be very interested to hear what those people have to say. People have texted me since I started this conversation this morning. Let me just share one text. Michelle, I watch the City Channel and he always raises his voice and is really ignorant. That's what somebody just said. The number of people that called in that were more likely to believe that he had showed his ass down there in that girl's office was 100%. I don't know because I was not there. But if this is what you given and what somebody at home is saying is my perception, I'm saying you got to think about the way you do business. You got to think about the way you engage. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Michelle.
What's happening, bro?
Keep making love to my mind. You speak the truth. You just got me gone.
Yo,
but anyway,
you a mess. Go ahead.
And I know I'm a mess, but I'm gonna be a hotter mess. I'm gonna be like y'all old radio, y'all little comment, y'all little Debbie and V. I love you, and I can't help myself. Now look that up, Debo. That's in your archive when I first came on the air. But anyway, Michelle,
yes, sir.
You tell Lena I saw on the news when she was giving that guy with the tires the reprimand. Tell her she looking good up there on the judge seat. I thought I'd get to go down there and see her, but I ain't. I saw on the news. Tell her she looking real good.
Look, I will pass it along.
Glasses, say I gotta get me some of them big thick glasses. Some direct.
You like them glasses?
Yeah, she looking good up in there. I got her sitting up there looking judgy. So hey,
did you say looking judgy?
Straight to her and then had myself.
Bossy, Steve, is this all you call for? Is this it?
Yeah, but not only that, you spoke the truth because that made what you were just talking about.
Yes, sir.
It made the news because they just had it on now looking at Channel 12.
Channel 12.
Yeah. And it was on the update. And I finally seen who you was talking about. I know who in the hell Chambers was.
Okay.
They had this picture in this looked like Hispanic woman.
Yeah.
But they made the Channel 12 news.
Yeah, it was hot off the presses on I think that was over the weekend. So I knew when I came in on Monday that all of this was going on, but because I had guests, I didn't get to talk about it. So thank you, Steve. I appreciate the call this morning. So let me see. So somebody said Alderwoman Coggs, Alderman Stamper, where'd they go? Alderwoman Pratt. Please call into the show and fill in the community. They ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do it. And number one, I don't even know if they was the older people that was in the room, but I'm just saying, y'all, you try to help people. Somebody said, remember the ruler incident, a child in preschool being characterized simply because of his skin color, training up a child to handle himself professionally at a young age. Like that is the thing. That is the thing. And folks think somebody chastising you or being, well, chastising is true, but that somebody being mean to you, don't like you, want to see you fail. And it's like, and I just had this conversation with another brother. When people say stuff, in most cases, particularly for me, it's not because I'm trying to tear you down or destroy you. I've been where you're trying to go. I've seen the fights you already getting ready to walk into. And I see what is potentially problematic. But people come to the table thinking they know every damn thing. You can't tell them nothing. And, folks want to cry if you say something to their people. And it's like, no, y'all, it's only a handful of us that ever get the opportunity to be in these spaces. How you show you? Because let me say this. You think Val Phillips didn't have no damn fights when she got down to City Hall? When Val Phillips got to City Hall, it wasn't even a toilet for her to use because there were no women's bathrooms in City Hall. She was pregnant. She was the only black person. They did not want that black woman down there. There were men who had to stand in the doorway while Val Phillips went to go to the bathroom so nobody would walk in on her because there were no women's bathrooms. Do you think Val Phillips never ran into ignorance, animosity, disdain, disrespect? Do you think that never happened? Think about all of the people in work situations that run into, some of y'all listening to my voice right now. You done ran into crazy nonsense. Crazy nonsense on your job. Did it result in the way this fell out? Because again, now I'm really wondering because all these people was in the room. And somebody said, well, it seemed like Perez is being neutral because he removed them both from committees and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But it was serious enough that they had to be separated. You go to your corner, you go to your corner. You got to be able to make your points and your arguments so that nobody gets to throw this label on your back. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Hey, so in you saying all of this, which I fully agree with your point of view on it, this makes me think of this movie called The Life of a King. And in it, the whole point is of this older man showing these younger, they happen to be in high school, these teenagers, how to still do what needs to be done, but do it within the rules. Because if you're of a certain skin color and sometimes of a certain economic status, you have to do what you need to do within the rules. You don't have the benefit of certain privileges automatically. So apparently it sounds like he may or may not need to still learn that too. You can still get your point across, but you're in a professional setting, so do it professionally.
All right.
It doesn't take all that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And somebody said, this is how our elected officials act in county government who really don't look like us. So, okay, this is how white folks act. And we, the black folks, are supposed to shut up and take their mess. Didn't nobody tell you to shut up? Didn't nobody tell you to take their mess? I told you, counter, push back, but do it in a way where you ain't got to cuss nobody out or use profanity. Like I tell people all the time, y'all think I cuss every day in the course of doing my job and the things that I do? I do not, because there's a time and a place. There is a way. And again, no matter how you feel about whatever the issue was they were going back and forth about and how strong or correct your position is, you have still got to, you do not get to forget you are in the workplace. Passion does not mean I'm yelling. That's not what passion means. That's not what passion means. It does not mean we are screaming at one another. It does not mean that people are being berated. And then to Joe Costa's point, when you going back and forth with a man in the workplace and he say something like, and I don't know if he said it, that's what she's alleging. He said something about, oh, you're going to start crying, or, you know, he brings up crying. Wait, what now? So would you be talking to your male colleague about crying in the workplace? If that came up, I wasn't there. I don't know, but it was people in the room that can tell us if this girl is lying or not. Did you say that? And if you said it, why did you think that was appropriate to say in the workplace? Because when she said it felt gendered, and that's what I'm telling people, like, you have to think about these things. Nobody, I, of all people, I have never gone into a room and didn't speak my mind. Never, ever. I have never gone into a room and not challenged stuff that I thought was ignorant or that was wrong or that was harmful for our community. But I did it in a way with every point being hit, every T crossed, every I dotted, that you understood where I was coming from. But ain't nobody outside talking about I felt threatened. I felt bullied. And again, You got all these other people in the room, but it's staff in that building that reached out to me and said she ain't lying. You could hear him down the hall. It's people telling it, y'all. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
Here we go. Here we go again with that double standard. That's all I was just trying to say on the post. And you get tired of it.
But what's the double standard? What is the double standard here?
Hang on, Michelle. Now, what did that lady scream at Bryant in chamber? You lie.
Right.
What did the other white chick do in the format? Pat her finger all in Barack's face, right?
Right.
But we always have to, like you said, that white dude choked that lady, and nothing happened to him. And it gets to the point sometimes, Michelle, you get so frustrated. It's just like, why? Look what the DA, Pam Bondi did. And then look at what Ron Johnson did the other day. But we always have to be careful how we say it and be like Michelle said, oh, when they go low, we go high. Why? Why do we always got to go high? Why do they always get to act a fool? Why do they get to tear up the Capitol? If that would have been us, you may not agree with me, but I believe there would have been some black bodies laying on the ground.
So you just answered your own question then, George. You just answered your own question. Why? And I'm not a big proponent of when they go low, we go high. You know, I don't mind hitting back. I just don't. But the way I hit back is still going to be proportionate to the situation. If we in a physical fight,
everybody might not have the decorum like you. That's why you had a Malcolm. But again, that's why you had a Dr. Martin Luther King.
But again, what did you just say? If it had been black people acting in the same way them white folks acted on January 6th, many of those black people would be dead. That's why we talk to. That's why we talk to our children about the way they interact with the police. About the way.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Michelle. I'm just the frustration.
No, I got you.
Why do we always have to do that? He talking about shooting Black Lives Matter protesters in the leg.
Look,
and it's just it gets tiring and it gets old, and you don't know what to do with this frustration. And then when we go tearing up our stuff, then they looking at, and which I never agree with. Why we tearing up our stuff? Because you don't know what to do with that boiled over frustration, and it just gets tired. What's the guy's name? Green, and he has the cane.
Oh, Al Green.
Yeah. You see how they berating him?
Yes.
And he wasn't doing enough of stand-up protesting. It's just like they want us to shut up and dribble. Don't say nothing. Just shut up and dribble.
No, I understand 1,000% exactly, and I have felt the way you felt. What did I say about them trying to tell black people how to grieve when you have wrongfully killed our family members? I have not said anything that you have not said. I agree 100%. But George, as we both know,
go ahead. The reason I posted that, Michelle, it was kind of like trying to be a joke, because when I see your personality in Michelle, and I don't know if you know this, we just kind of know each other by running into each other every now and then, talking on the I might hit you on a text sometimes and all that kind of stuff, but we don't really know each other like that. But when I see your personality, Michelle, and I love you for it, you seem like you like Oprah Winfrey in The Color Purple to me. You don't play, and that's one of the things I love about you, Michelle. You straight up, if you want to, we could take it intellectually, or we could take it. What does it do? Say we could take it one or two ways. We could do it. We could do it like gentlemen, or we could take it. I forgot how the dude said it in the Mac. My mind is kind of. I'm so frustrated over these last 12 years, Michelle, of this mess still going on, and I wonder, Michelle, for our people to have survived, we did have to kind of back down a little bit and do the non-violent stuff, and nothing happens to them.
But and this is
I
true.
guess I'm frustrated. And I guess I'm so frustrated because I've been watching this Jewish black thing for the last 3 weeks. So Gates, just like, man, we always got to take a back seat. Always got to take back seat, and we always down for everybody calls. And even when people even help us, they still jump ahead of us. And I guess it's just a frustration. You know, like I said a couple of weeks ago, 2026, we still dealing with this same old crazy stuff. Thank you, Michelle. That made me feel better.
No, I appreciate you, George. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And let me take a second and hit a couple of comments I see. A comment came in and said, I don't think we can discuss the gender dynamics and not the racial one. Calling a black man big and scary as a non-black person is rooted in racial stereotypes. Sometimes passion about a subject comes with yelling. It doesn't mean you're in danger. It's giving Karen. I would say on one hand, hey, one of the first things I think about is like, were you really afraid? Right. But the other thing, particularly given, because I know Jocasta and I don't know her intimately. I know her from work. She doesn't, and somebody, you know, who moves through the community, has friends of all stripes and colors. I don't get the Karen vibe from Jocasta. You know, not gonna say it's not possible, but I don't get the Karen vibe from her. I've seen her do battle in the state capitol. I've watched her have conversations, and you know, but you don't know nobody 24/7. I don't know you intimately, so I don't know what you're capable of. But even with that being said, yes, yelling can come, but how much yelling and how high can your voice go in the workplace before it's unacceptable? Because it's one thing for your voice to get elevated. I disagree. But how high can the voice go before you've crossed the line of what's acceptable in discourse? We don't like it. It's not fair. But there are things that we know we have to be subjected to. And the other thing I'm going to say is how we talk about it. Because on the one way it's described as giving in. How about being strategic? When we teaching our kids and giving our kids the talk about how to engage law enforcement on these streets, that's not teaching them kids to give in. It's teaching them to be strategic about how you move in a workplace. Every environment that I have worked in, I've been one of a handful of black people in the room. And I understood how to move. And this is the thing, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make some people mad. And I learned how to do it without giving up my blackness, without assimilating to the point that you can't even tell I'm a sister when I'm in the room. And you can't tell I'm a sister because you don't hear me speaking to the values of black people. You don't hear me referencing my community and bringing them up in a way that lets you know, no, you're not going to say nothing racially stereotypical up in here. You're not getting ready to take their resources without a fight for me. You're not going to say nothing ignorant and it don't get challenged and pushed back. So some of this is about being strategic. It's not giving in. It's how do you live to fight another day? How do you win an argument? How do you become a better, more persuasive person? How do you bring people to your side of the issue? Some of us work in ignorant situations where I don't care what you do, you're not going to bring the people to your side of the argument. But many of you listening to my voice every day, when you walk through that workplace, you are making a deliberate, conscientious decision about being strategic in the way you move in that organization. I got to take a break. I'll be right back. All right, family. So I'm going to wrap this portion on the situation down at City Hall, but I'm going to just be honest. I'm getting a number of text messages, folks in the community that I know, I respect, I revere. And, one of the things that they have said is that, and I'm just going to be candid and use their exact words, that he got issues, that they have had interactions with Alderman Chambers where he, got loud with them and, they felt like that he was coming at them. I've also heard from some people who said that Alderwoman Zamaripa can be a Karen, that somebody has seen it and has called her out on it. So, the thoughts are out there. We will see what this investigation yields, but I'm also going to be interested to understand to the post that somebody put in the chat, what these other alderpersons that was in the room have to say. What does Common Council, Jose Perez, because you don't get to, if I witness something that's out of pocket, I don't get to sit on the sidelines. It don't matter that I'm the Common Council president. What I saw was right or wrong. What I saw was both of y'all escalated and it got out of control. You both acted unprofessionally, but call a spade a spade. The investigation, all of the people right there in the room. But everybody can see it from a different lens and perspective, particularly depending on where your, and this is the jacked up part, where your political allies lie, where your relationships are. I may not always be able to be candid about the behavior of my friends. Some of my friends may not always be able to be candid about my behavior. So you got to understand all of those dynamics at play. But can we reach a general consensus about what should and should not happen in the workplace? Now, it's one thing to say we had a moment. Clark said this to me during the break. He said, it sounds like it's something been going on there. There have been nods or references to the fact that these two do not get along. They don't get along. And it probably had just hit a head and escalated. They don't get along. But I'm just going to tell people, and I'm going to the break, you always got to protect yourself. You always got to protect yourself. However you decide to make moves, to discuss issues, and then be willing to deal with the fallout and the consequences when you make different choices and different decisions. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Caller? All right, let's get the next one. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Oh, good morning, Miss Michelle Bryant.
What's going on, JT? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing excellent. And how about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. No complaints.
Good morning to outstanding gentlemen in the house.
Good morning there, sir.
Yeah, outstanding. It's a bit much.
I didn't have to say that to you, Michelle, because you already know you're outstanding.
Come on with it, JC. Play my theme music. Sing my song. Go ahead.
Well, Michelle, I just have one curiosity.
Yes, sir.
Who were the other people in the room?
That's the other thing. I don't know. I don't know who was in the room.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to find out.
Right.
I don't know if it's relevant or not, but yes.
It's relevant. It's relevant.
I would like to know who were the other people. That's all I wanted to say quickly, Michelle. And thank you. Wonderful show.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. So do I have a caller? Oh, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about this thing with the Chambers and the lady.
Yes.
And now I'm wondering, is Chambers trying to be a gatekeeper for the downtown boule that's got things wrapped up? And actually, they don't even have to do anything anymore because the groundwork and the program has been set to follow. So I'm wondering, or does he see any bias in this Latino girl giving out licenses and doing things? I don't have time to watch that stuff no more. But is she granting a lot of stuff and sending black folks through a lot of red tape when they get? Because I'm gonna tell you something. And people buying those city houses that I'm aware of,
but hold on, because wait,
when
bro.
There's foreclosures over there, and how they handle blacks and whites, and they allow them people to come in and do what they're doing. So I'm wondering, is Chambers angry at that he sees some bias going on, or is she freely working with people and Chambers being the gatekeeper like he stood up a couple of weeks ago? And I don't know who he thought he was impressing to say that they shouldn't have given the guy the 18 million. I mean, how much the 8 foot paid for the 18 years.
Right.
So I don't know whether Chambers is being looked at as a villain for trying to stand up, or is he serving? Is he actually? I want to know what the gist of it is, because let's be realistic. If you look at Chambers, and he called in and said I was a dark soul and all that. Well, I understand that, but I also understand where he come from. He don't know that I know where he come from. So he has had that, that jock, persona about himself even as a kid. Like I told you, little guy knocked him out up there. I don't think it was over Whitney, the little girl he was dating at the time.
Okay, we ain't gonna do all of that.
Persona,
Keep it to the subject.
Any harm. He just might be that big bully, that guy. Because I'm a little guy with that same kind of attitude, but it develops as a kid, and maybe that's what it is. But I want to know, is it because that girl been working the licensing committee the way that it looks biased, and guess what? I would be saying something. Or is it that she's been freely and loose and saying, hey, give these people a chance to get some money out this community?
Okay,
and he said, no, you're giving it away.
Okay.
I really want to know that.
All right.
If he want to come on and say something, he ain't got to incriminate himself. But at least let us know what the argument. Why is it? Was she being biased to our people? And it can happen. Okay.
Okay.
Or is it that he being the gatekeeper down there saying, no, we can't do that. We like a Russell Stanford, which has become real smooth with his gatekeeping, but he's a gatekeeper down there. And I knew he was going to be one when he come up under Willie Hines at the little gathering. And what's the other guy named Wade? When I seen him with Wade in them little cheap suits, and Willie
Hines, I got time. Because they'll go for one thing, and then he'll have you over in Puerto Rico by the time you get done. Bitch, I was trying to get your attention. You didn't have your track phone up close to your ear so you can hear me hollering. So we just had to let you go. Not disrespect, but you was getting ready to repeat yourself, and then you was again. We call them, the personal attacks. We ain't got to talk about people's clothes. Keep it to the business. If you keep it to the business, you don't go wrong. And I also was trying to pull you back because I don't want to do a whole bunch of speculating. What's wrong with you? Why are you coming up here looking? So we talk about your clothes in context of authenticity of brand. So we're actually talking about clothes. It's not personal. We look around the room and we assess real, not real, real, not real. That's what we do. And we talking about clothes. No one I'm sorry, no one has ever had to check your tag? Never, because we know that your clothes are real. Did nobody say that? What, man? See, a hit dog a holler. He done ran in here. Well, because it's not in context. When we talk about your clothes, it's because at that moment we're discussing clothes. Me just talking about people wearing cheap suits, but we talking about the business of City Hall. Yeah, now back to the scheduled program. Coming up in here clowning. Oh, somebody said from what I read in the news, it was Perez, Brower, Dmitrievic, Bergelis, Chambers, and Zamaripa. So that's who they said was in the office. So I'm looking at that makeup. He might have felt like he was being ganged up on up in there because I'm looking at, because see what you got to do. That's why I said the politics of this thing is real. Pay attention to the alliances. And remember, Chambers supported Malele. when she was running for Common Council president. And so remember how them committee assignments got done. People got dogged and messed over. The sisters got, clowned on their assignments. I'm just saying, somebody said you talk about my clothes the other day. Yes. They both ended up being moved around and off committees. So it seemed like whatever they had together, they got moved. No, but she was on one committee and she was removed from that committee, and she lost being the vice chair of a committee. He lost being the vice chair of a committee. So it seems like it was a effort to try to move them. And if you happen to have a chairship on that committee, you ended up losing it by default because you're being knocked off that committee. No, it doesn't hit them in their pocket, but it's power. It's money in terms of you sitting on, like the way they describe the licensing committee. It's an extremely powerful committee. And, so you can see more campaign contributions. No, I ain't saying pay for play, but because people, hey, I support you, alderman or alderwoman. It's like sitting on joint finance, for the state of Wisconsin. It's a powerful committee. But no, your salary is the same whether you get one committee, no committee assignments, or you got 5. Like we saw some people get newly elected, District 7, and they was on some nonsense. Anyway, do I have any more callers? Man, I tried to get off this subject. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ride Out. Good morning, Milwaukee. Tyrone W. speaking. Let me get it, real quick here because I know you're up against J.C. Frazier in a couple minutes here. From my understanding and from what I'm hearing, and I have to agree with you, Michelle. I'm hearing. I wonder. Because Mark Chambers, that's my alderman, and he comes out. Things are getting done slowly but surely. I mean, he's kind of out. Chevy got out too, but things are getting done a little bit more aggressively now that Chevy has moved up to where he is and Mark is here now. He's come out of the concrete and stuff there, on the sidewalks there. They've said they're not going to put new concrete down, but they will. They will put the black asphalt down so the wheelchairs can get over the where the concrete, the sidewalk is tilted, in certain areas where the hill and stuff is shifting. So book bag giveaway, Mark Chambers does come out, I won't make every town hall meeting and all that, and I don't know what went on down there. But it sounds like something, Carla said, something personal, between the two of them. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me like Perez should have stepped up and said, let's tone it down. And you have to keep in mind, the halls are hollow anyway. I'm a black Cherokee, so my voice carries as it is as well.
You said you're a black what?
I'm a black Cherokee.
And your voice carries because you're a black Cherokee?
Yes, it does. Don't make me start saying how much I want to tomahawk.
You did not say I'm a black Cherokee and my voice carries. Oh my God!
Don't let me get on the mom side.
So which part of your heritage makes your voice carry? Your blackness or your Cherokee-ness?
My mama's side, the little black, the little Indian woman that's running around here. But anyway, real quick.
Oh my God!
So, but yeah, I don't know what her district looks like over there. A lot of the stores are closing over here because of thievery and stuff. That's not on Mark.
Not because of thievery.
But different things. But I know this Walgreens over here closed because of a lot of theft and stealing and stuff. That's not on Mark Chambers.
I got you.
And he won't be able to keep every store open, but he is at least making an effort to do something to keep somewhat of a residential likeness to what we have going on around here. Now, what hers look like? Well, I can't speak to that. But Perez should have stepped up and said, let's tone it down and let's do it this way, and we'll see what the fallout's going to be. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is that it? We got another caller? One more. Okay. Hey, caller. What's happening?
Hey, listen. You said something a minute ago that just struck a nerve.
Okay.
You described the makeup that was in the room.
Right.
I'm telling you, and I've been preaching this for years now, that when a certain ethnic group get power, especially when they get in the Congress or the White House, they're going to create laws and it's going to match. I mean, that boy needs to get on here, and I know it's going to seem racist to him because that's the way he's being programmed. but he has to actually talk about it. If all them Hispanics was in there and one Negro was in there, hey, don't that say something?
Well, was everybody one Hispanic, was that? Well, Marina, because Marina Dmitrijevic is like Polish or something. She's not
but she
Hispanic.
married to a Hispanic. She married to a Hispanic.
Okay, well, I'm just saying
Okay,
she's not
what about
Hispanic.
the other one?
Burgelis, yeah, I don't know what he is. I thought he was a white dude. I don't know.
He might be a town, John.
So Alex Brower is not Hispanic.
Right.
So
was there
that's
any
it.
black folks
So
in there?
it seemed like just Chambers.
Right. So we need to know what the attack was in Chambers, because the girl that's screaming, he was hollering at her. Well, that's just like my buddy that come out the bathroom with his pants unzipped, and they warned him one time. Okay, they warned him.
Here we go.
They say,
Come on, Meech, man.
No,
okay.
I'm trying to tell you that they might be discriminating against the brother.
I hear you. I got
Put
it.
him on the show then. How about it?
You look, he welcome to call anytime he wants to. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Somebody said, yeah, I'm Cherokee too. My voice can go real loud. I can't stand y'all. Oh my God. Can I please? I really have tried to move on. I'm not gonna be able to. Okay. I'm looking at the comments everywhere. I believe that they said they were getting ready for an ICE press conference to talk about what steps the city were going to be taking in relationship to telling people how to understand how to maneuver with ICE. I don't know if that was what the argument was about, disagreement was about, whatever the issues were. I don't know. I do love, though, when the person sent me the text and said, hey, how many of them was in the room? Because that now constitutes a meeting. And I hope y'all understand that. If too many elected officials are in the room at a time, depending on the makeup of the body that they represent, then you can have a problem in terms of open records and open meeting laws. Not open records, but open meeting laws. So okay, let me go to the phone. I just can't believe y'all won't let me go. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, what's happening? Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Oh, let me turn this radio down. I just wanted to chime in and say that I live by something, and I call it, they get me, I deserve to get got.
Okay. Okay.
And by that I mean, like what just backing up what you were saying, and and I try to teach young brothers that there's a way to go about doing something. So if they get me, I slipped up and I got. That's how and however frustrated you get by it or whatever, that's how we have to live. That's the reality of our lives, So just wanted to chime in and because now. Because one thing, too, I sat in front of a committee with the brother, and the power I felt was going to his head. And now he done lost that power. So what'd you gain? So that's why I really want brothers to live by. They get me, I deserve to get got. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me just take that a step further, because one of the things, and, amongst my crew, my clique of friends, I tell people all the time, if I'm in jail, I know exactly why I'm in jail. And I made a conscientious decision today. It was worth going to jail. And I'm okay with it. To that point, I have already looked down the road, even though I'm in the throes of the moment. Keith, what did I say? Keith Paris's message was, don't get knocked off your square. Stay on your square. Keep your eye on the prize. This is a perfect example of the sermon that Keith gave this past Sunday over at Zion Hill. Because make no mistake, and I tell people all the time, I play crazy real good when I want to. I act dumb. I act under informed or uninformed sometimes, because I just want to see the way a conversation gonna go. I learned that from my mom and my granddaddy. Sometimes just fall back. They don't have to know that you know. Just watch and see what they say and do. And who gonna try to lie to you, tell you the truth, who gonna be real or not. And So it's plenty of times that I'm in the room and the conversation is unfolding, and I have already played out in my mind what my response is going to be. I know what they counter going to be. I know at the end of this day where that conversation is going to end, because I'm strategically thinking about it. I'm strategically thinking about it while it's unfolding. That is a skill. Everybody can't keep their wits about them in the heat of the moment. And so that's why I tell people we got to be careful how we talk about stuff. I'm not backing down. I'm being strategic because I'm on this committee. I have the ability to help this Black business. I have the ability to do this. I'm looking around this room. I'm outnumbered. What do I have to do to stay on my square? What I got to do? Now, there will be times when I decide, you know what, damn that square. I'm coming off, I'm blowing it up, but I knew what I was doing, and I'm okay with the consequences. I ain't going to cry about it. I ain't going to tell nobody I ain't do it. I did it. I tell people all the time, that's what irritates me about the way these cats do dirt out here in the streets. Don't shoot somebody and then run. You know, you want to get in the getaway car and drive off. If you was boss enough to go run up on them and shoot them, be boss enough to stand there and accept them consequences. We got more callers? Dang, y'all. Okay, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
I'm sorry, Michelle.
You good? Come on now.
Hey, listen.
What?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there, and just my little interpretation. It probably was some frustration building over, and
Sounds like
that situation happened. Yeah, but I got some frustration myself, and I just want to say this about the sixth district.
Okay,
and I think that's Malele's district, and I just want to say that I think she has to do better as far as. I've called her office numerous times over the years, and I never get a call back or a response to my concerns about the issues in the neighborhood, and I just have a lot of frustration when it comes to that, because I have some issues that and it doesn't get resolved, and I don't know if it's because of the neighborhood that I live in, it gets less attention. There was a caller that called in about I think it was Tyrone W. about something about maybe a wheelchair ramp or something that gets this little raggedy patch job instead of it getting taken care of. Because I know for a fact that in other neighborhoods that situation would have been repaired correctly.
Okay,
it would have been replaced. I've seen it myself, because I know for a fact that, you know, if it's a sidewalk or a carriage walk or whatever, there's no raggedy patch job done. It gets repaired. You know, I don't know, you know, whoever came out and looked at it, but basically, I just want to say I'm just kind of frustrated about when I call her office and I leave messages with her assistant. I never get a call back in issues that I need taken care of. It doesn't never get resolved. So I have some frustration when it comes to that, you know. And maybe next time if she has a community meeting, I have a little more time on my hands, I'm going to go and just voice my concerns personally. But I don't know any other way, because when you send emails or phone calls and they don't get attended to, that it gets kind of frustrating, you know.
Understood.
And, yeah, so I just wanted to say that, and I understand what Tyrone was talking about, because I've seen them do raggedy patch jobs in my neighborhood too. Instead of them replacing that slab, they want to come and throw some raggedy asphalt on there, you know. And like I said, we all pay taxes, and we all should get the same service as every other different parts of the city. So I just wanted to say that, and thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Right.
And you made me think of something. I wanted to go back because Alderwoman Coggs did put out a statement regarding the passing of her staff member. When many of you called the office, one of the people that would have been responding to folks, if that was still the setup, was Akua Dantzler. And so her statement read, yesterday as a son, yesterday As the sun shone and the air felt warmer than it has in quite some time, a beautiful butterfly was released. My longtime legislative assistant and sister friend, Akua Dantzler, passed away. Though she was an only child with a small biological family, she built a chosen family as huge as her heart. We are all grieving the loss of her radiant smile, her kind spirit, and her ever-present helping hand. Akua fought through many health challenges, yet she remained steadfast in her commitment to serving others. She was thoughtful beyond measure, always remembering birthdays and life special moments while never seeking attention or recognition for herself. Her humility was matched only by her dedication. Many of the initiatives our community has come to cherish, including Girls' Day at City Hall, Bronzeville Week, and the MKE Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit, were made possible through her exceptional organizing, planning, and execution over the years. Her fingerprints are on so much of the progress and programming that have strengthened our district. The 6th District Office has always operated collaboratively to improve the lives of those we serve. In Akua, I have lost a trusted thought partner, my right hand, a dear friend, and a sister. Our office has lost an irreplaceable cornerstone. As we mourn this tremendous loss, we also honor her legacy of service, excellence, and quiet leadership. We extend our deepest condolences to all who were blessed to know her and who are grieving alongside us. Her impact on this office, this city, and on my life will never be forgotten. So I'm not offering that up as an excuse for the caller saying I haven't received return calls, but I do know that that office has experienced a difficulty in terms of Akua's importance and significance in helping to execute and get things done. The other thing I will say, and I don't know in terms of City Hall, how their offices are staffed, but I'll tell people in the assembly, if you're a first-year legislator, you get one staff person, but you got 57,000 people in your district. Now, all 57,000 are not calling you, but you get one staff person. If you get reelected and you get reelected, the maximum staff that you get is 1.5 for everybody that you got to represent. In the Senate, Lena did miracles in terms of the way we hire people and stretch the dollar. But I just wanted people to be aware of that. Some of this stuff is crazy, but the service got to happen, the work got to be done, not taken away from that. All right, y'all. I didn't get to talk about Rainbow Push. I didn't get to talk about some of the local elections that happened. I'll try to hit some of that up tomorrow. I got to get out the way. Thank you to everybody that participated, made the show go this morning. I appreciate every single comment, whether you agreed or disagreed. I'll hold that thought to tomorrow. Bruss, I appreciate both of y'all. Debo, love you too with your fake suits. All right, y'all.
With your loud suit wearing.
What Carvey say?
Yeah. Suit was making too much noise.
I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.